Hey, good morning, guys. All right, and we are going to have another fun day here with some contract terminology. And to get started here, thank you for coming. We have, can any contract be assigned? This is our first card here. Okay. Some can, some can't. Assignment does not release the original party from obligation. Debts and other obligations are generally not assignable. So debts and other obligations are generally not assignable without permission from the party to which they are owed. A novation is often used, or remember, novation being new, is often used to release one party and transfer obligations to another party. An example is if you sell your house and the buyer wants to assume your mortgage. This will not be possible by assignment. You cannot assign your debt. To be released from the obligation of the loan, you must get permission from the mortgage lender. Most mortgage loans are not assumable without the lender's permission. That's an interesting card. And we had some study on novation earlier. Okay. This one got a little bent. What is an assigner? An assignee. Okay. One assigns, one receives. So you have an O-R-E-E rule here. O-R, the giver, and the receiver. The assignor is someone who assigns or transfers an agreement or contract to another. The assignee is the person who receives. Okay? Receives, E-E, giver, O-R, grantor. Okay. An example, Davis has an option to buy certain land. She assigns her rights to Baker. Davis has an option to buy certain land. She assigns her rights to Baker so that Baker now has the same rights. Davis is the assignor. Baker is the assignee. Okay? What is an assignment? These all kind of tie in together. Okay. An assignment is a method by which a right or contract is transferred from one person to another. To assign is to transfer one's property rights or contract rights to another. Types of contracts commonly assigned are leases, mortgages, and deeds of trust. For example, when an apartment complex is sold, the previous owner assigns the tenant leases to the new owner. Makes sense? Getting through a few quickly here. What is the difference between puffing, a mistake, misrepresentation, and fraud? Okay, puffing, misrepresentation, and fraud, and mistake. These are important terms. In the context of contracts, the distinction is primarily based on the intent of the person who makes a false statement. Puffing is also harmless chatter, such as saying, "The house has one of the best backyards in the world." A mistake is an unintentional error made in preparing a contract. If all the parties agree, it may be corrected without voiding the contract. A misrepresentation is an untrue statement, whether unintentional or deliberate. It may be a form of non-disclosure perhaps inadvertent, where there is a duty to disclose, or it could be the planned creation of a false appearance. If there is misrepresentation of material fact, the injured person may sue for damages or may rescind the contract. Rescind being remove or back out. Fraud is the intentional use of deception to cause another person to suffer loss. Fraud is often punishable, the severity depending on the law. Okay? So now we have the puffing, harmless chatter, embellishment, I call it. A mistake is an unintentional error where both parties can agree it was a simple mistake. A misrepresentation may be intentional or unintentional and is usually in a form of non-disclosure and sometimes perhaps inadvertent. And then you have fraud. Okay? Here's something we all should know. Due diligence. Always do your due diligence. Making a reasonable effort to perform under a contract. For example, a prospective home buyer who signs a sales contract contingent on the sale of his or her present residence is expected to use due diligence in marketing that property. So an example, a prospective home buyer who signs a sales contract is contingent on the sale of his or her present residence is expected to use due diligence in marketing that property. So that's saying that if this person who wants to buy a property is contingent to sell their property, they have to make effort to sell their property. Making a reasonable effort to provide accurate, complete information. A due diligence study often precedes the purchase of a property. It considers the physical, legal, and social characteristics of the property and expected investment performance. An example, a pension fund might send various experts to perform due diligence studies of a property it is considered for purchase. Matters to be considered would include the mechanical and electrical systems of the building, local market rental conditions, and competition for the property, and environmental hazards. Examination of property to detect the presence of contaminants. For example, before lending on a shopping center, a lender may insist on an environmental examination as part of the due diligence. So, due diligence is do your homework. Okay? What is disclosure statement? And when is one required? Prior to the sale, and typically during the observation of the property. We have a lot of wording on this one here. Hopefully everybody can see that. Disclosure statement is a printed document that reveals specific information about something offered for sale. Sellers of particular kinds of real property and investments may be required by law to furnish such a statement to prospective buyers. For example, in the real estate field, most states require sellers of real estate to disclose any dangerous condition. Some states require disclosure of foundations repairs, termite infestation, earthquake faults, and other issues. Many sellers of investment interest in real estate are required to disclose their own interest and profit potential. Okay? Many sellers of investment interest in real estate are required to disclose their own interest in profit potential, such as the seller realtor or the agent selling the property. If they have any involvement in the ownership, has to be disclosed. Seller of timeshare interest must disclose which portions of the project will be retained by the developer and the cost and condition of use by timeshare buyers. Timeshare interest gives the owner the right to occupy a certain unit for a limited period of time, such as one specific week each year. Okay, we have one more here. What is a duty to disclose? It's an obligation. The duty to disclose is a legal requirement of a seller, a broker, or an agent to tell a prospective buyer or other interested party about any negative condition. I'm curious about any positive condition. But the legality may pertain to negative condition because it can cause harm. For example, the following may impose a duty to disclose: foundation crack, termite infestation, hazardous construction materials, hazardous materials in the environment, such as contaminants from a leaking underground storage tank. And again, if these are known facts, any known fact of negative condition. There are some things that you can't see, especially in a home inspection, where there's something behind the wall that there can't be disclosed because it's an unknown. But any known negative condition or fact has to be disclosed. Okay, guys? I hope you had fun here at this is number 021 of our flashcards. And thank you very much. Talk to you soon.